Richard and Sarah Turnbull became expat pioneers when they fled the rat race in Leeds to live the good life in Tuscany. Today they own a stone farmhouse, complete with 8 acres of terraced hillside and 350 olive trees. Now the family want to try and become totally self-sufficient.
Pure golden Tuscan cider.
By growing vegetables,
Oh, that's a hole. Look at that.
breeding horses,
What a lady! Don't pull it, don't pull it!
Not pulling it over it up.
and harvesting everything that flourishes under the Tuscan sun. This year, they're venturing deep into hidden Italy to source new produce.
Let's go find a pig.
Wow, just look at all that crackling. Yeah.
And gambling on a new money-making scheme, helping the next wave of Brits find their own little slice of the Italian dream.
It's stunning, isn't it? It's beautiful.
It is. And that's what you get when you wake up in the morning.
Oh, yes.
Home for the Turnbull family is a farm nestled in the lush green hills above Pescia, on the upper shin of the boot of Italy, just about here.
It's taken 7 years to feel really at home in Pescia, but we just love it now. It's where we've got all our friends, it's where we can get everything that we need to get. It's just a wonderful, lovely, lovely community, and it's really home now is Pescia.
Buongiorno. Umberto, il re di cappuccino. This is the best cappuccino in the world. It doesn't get any better than this.
Since arriving, the family has steadily grown. Gregory, who was 3 when they moved here, is now a strapping 9-year-old, with 3 younger brothers, Marco, Vittorio, and baby Leo. There are also 4 horses, 8 free-range chickens, and a 3-legged rabbit called Dave. Usually there'd also be a regular influx of paying guests, but the extended family has squeezed them out, leaving a large hole in the finances.
We both have to work, we've got mortgages, we've got 4 children, we have to sort of bring home the bacon, as it were.
So this year, their challenge is to bridge that gap, make their land work harder than ever, and become small farmers. It's early on a summer's morning, and the family are already up and making the most of the day before the Tuscan sun means hard work is virtually impossible.
These squash, where am I going to put them?
Richard and Sarah have always grown their own veg, but this summer, without the safety net of the holiday lets income, they're relying on their own farm produce more than ever.
I don't buy any fruit throughout the summer, hardly any vegetables, which is great. It gives you a warm glow inside.
Today, they're harvesting the first potatoes of the year.
Got it. Oh, corker.
Hand-picked by Farmer Gregory.
Oh, that's a haul. Look at that. Oh, zillions.
They've unearthed more potatoes than they need, but they won't go to waste.
Yeah, you told me. OK.
Sarah has begun bartering excess produce with her nearest neighbour. Just a short 20-minute hike up the hill.
Ciao, Antonella.
She's become close friends with Antonella, united by a common love of top-class fruit and veg and a desire to waste nothing.
C'è possibilità di fare questo come un regalo. Antonella's given me a load of courgettes because she's got millions of them. I've got loads of potatoes and Antonella's got no potatoes, so we're going to do a swap. And she's also very kindly given me some of her very first tomatoes, which is fantastic. Bellissimo. Grazie. Ciao tutti. Ciao Lupo.
And it's not just courgettes and spuds that are busting out all over. After months of sunshine, the cherry trees are also groaning with fruit. It all needs picking while it's still ripe.
What's it taste like?
Nice.
Nice.
And the whole family have to muck in and lend a somewhat sticky hand.
Don't pull it, don't pull it!
Not pulling it over it up.
Without a doubt, we both work far harder, far longer and put far more effort and energy into our lives.
Always there's stuff to do. There's never a time when you sit down and go, oh, what should we do today then? And actually, we both like that challenge. You wouldn't expect cherries to weigh this much.
It may be hard work, but it's great food and it's free. It all helps them live as simply as possible.
Well, I suppose that's a fairly good advert, isn't it?
As well as growing almost all of their own fruit and veg, there's also liquid gold in these here hills. Every November, it's olive time. The harvest will mean weeks of relentless, back-breaking work, but their 350 olive trees could produce 500 litres of top-quality oil, worth a vital £5,000. And this year, Richard is determined to maximise the crop.
This behind us is an olive tree that we've never actually got to because it's been so overgrown. So we've actually increased the number of accessible and therefore productive olive trees.
Of course, more olive trees mean crucially more income. But this summer, there's another good reason for reclaiming this land.
Once this is trimmed and cleared, an area like this will grass over very quickly. The horses can eat the grass. And we need more. The more grass we've got, the less we have to buy hay in to feed the horses during the year.
The horses are Sarah's biggest gamble of the summer.
Good boy. The horses technically are actually a farm thing for financial purposes. They are an integral part of my small farmer status. So they're really, really important for me to have just in my work. Never mind, you know, it's important for my soul. It's important for my work too. Okay.
She's persuaded Richard to sink the last of their savings into 2 American rare breed horses, Quiz, a Palomino stallion, and Fuchsia, a pregnant mare.
One foot in front of the other.
She's bet the farm on these 2 horses.
This is my first purebred Morgan foal, and it's what we've worked for. We bought the horses in the UK, we've studied bloodlines, we've been very, very careful. So this is like the first fruit of our labour as far as that's concerned. If I can bear to sell this foal, that'll pay for the whole of the horses for the whole of the year, and financially speaking, it'd be fantastic.
It won't, however, be enough to pay all their bills. So they're hiring themselves out to other Brits, seeking their own piece of paradise.
We've been here 6 years now, and through those 6 years, we've done everything that anyone will ever need to do. We've pretty much done it. And we've also ended up helping a lot of people with friends and acquaintances that we knew. And then slowly it kind of became obvious that that really was a market that wasn't being tapped. Hello! Oh.
Linda and Damon Giddings are about to throw themselves into the holiday lets business. 2 years ago, they stayed at Richard and Sarah's farmhouse on their honeymoon. They loved the experience so much, they hired them to help find a rundown farmhouse of their own, which they bought last year for £120,000. Richard also helped Damon start the renovations, but hasn't been back since, and is keen to see how the work is progressing.
Kitchen.
Fantastic. What a difference.
Gosh, doesn't it look beautiful?
It's a little bit cobbled together. It's not traditionally Tuscan, but...
There's still quite a few rough edges. We, as per usual, we ran out of time.
In just 6 months, and on a tight budget of £30,000, Damon has managed to turn a wreck into a revelation.
Wow, it's beautiful. It really is so nice. I just love this house.
You had your chance, Sarah?
I know, I had my chance. I could not convince my husband.
Sarah was desperate for us to buy this property when it came up for sale. We drove past and we saw it from the road, and the next thing, one of the agents that we deal with had it in the window, it was for sale, and she really loves this property, partly because she's small and the rooms are low. So it's her size, really.
I really like it. It's so cottagey, but spacious as well.
I think when we get back home, it's going to be, look what Damon did, He's done all this, he's all clean, it's all tidy, it's all lovely, and you're a bloody builder and you haven't done it yet. So just business as usual when I get back home, really.
Well, it looks fantastic now. It's exactly what you want.
Well, see if you have.
To finance their new life abroad, Linda and Damon will let out the main part of their house to holidaymakers while they move into the basement. Sadly, having spent all their time and money getting the upstairs ready for paying guests, has left their own living quarters looking a little more rustic.
I've seen it.
Oh, that's lovely. You've gone for the aftermath of a bomb attack look. I like that, yeah. No, not many people do that.
Stylish, isn't it?
Oh, Linda.
To help kickstart Linda and Damon's holiday let business, Richard and Sarah have referred some of their old customers.
On the back of the house.
The first are due in just 3 weeks.
Oh,
Clock
it's not
ticking.
that
Clock
bad.
ticking.
It actually, you know, it really isn't. It's just a lot of mess that needs clearing out. That's
I really
all.
like your optimism.
Jesus.
I've had to. I'm married to Richards.
But as Richard and Sarah know only too well, finishing the renovation is only half the battle.
Many people are very naive and see that a big house, renting a bit of it out, is just easy money. And on paper it looks like easy money, but if you imagine your worst relative coming to stop week after week after week after week, and you can't tell them to go away in polite or unpolite terms because they're paying you money, that takes a special kind of person to run that kind of business. Hopefully Linda is that special kind of person.
And while one Tuscan dream starts to unravel,
I'm glad I didn't get that email because I'd have been a little bit pissed off.
another turns into a nightmare.
What was it? It was something mousy.
It's 8 o'clock on a Monday morning and the temperature is already nudging into the 80s. Today, Richard and Sarah have received a visitor from the UK. Catherine Bainbridge is an old friend who up until last year was living the Tuscan dream herself.
Catherine's bought this very cute little chestnut house which we spent last summer putting a new roof on, new floors, new foundations, doors, windows, all this kind of thing. And then she had a kind of change of heart, went back to England to do a teaching job and hasn't been back since.
Oh, look! There's your house.
I've got
There's your
ivy
gate.
on my gate.
There's your gate.
Oh my goodness, it's so overgrown.
Come on
Right,
then, let's
come
go
on.
have a look and see what the damage is.
Oh, I'm a little bit scared.
Although Catherine had planned to settle in Italy, the isolated location of her cottage and the difficulty of earning an income here proved to be too much. She hasn't been back for almost a year.
Well, it's looking all right.
Having spent £28,000 buying it and a further £7,000 on renovations, Catherine is anxious to make a return on her investment.
Fabulous.
She's hoping a quick flick of the duster will be enough to get Fairy Cottage ready for Tuscany's lucrative holiday season, a move which could bring in up to £250 a week.
Right. You know what? I'm actually See that? See, look at that. That's disgusting. I think there's been quite a lot of rat movement. Oh, it's been to the toilet on my stereo. Don't, you're making me more scared.
And rat poo isn't the only sign of animal activity in Fairy Cottage.
Oh, Jesus.
That's a big skin rat, mate.
Oh. That's one hell of a snake.
Oh, Sarah, don't make me stay here. I can't stay here.
I'm not
gonna
making
come and
you
live
stay
in
here.
your treehouse. I was looking forward to having a little holiday this year because last year when I bought this we had to gut it all. Richard and I had to gut it all completely and put the next floor in. We did so much work and I was thinking this year I'd be able to you know, maybe do a week of work and then have a couple of weeks actual holiday. But I'm really surprised as well how bad it's got so quickly. What's that? What are all those fluffy bits there?
Oh, look. Oh, no! That has come from your bed. Oh, come on, we can be brave. I can do
Armed
that.
only with northern grit and a blue duster, Catherine ventures upstairs to find out exactly who, or what, has been sleeping in her bed.
What's that?
Whoa, what?
That thing there.
What?
That thing there. What's that?
Candle?
Next
Oh,
to it.
Jesus, it's a dead mouse. Oh, this is nasty. Oh, Catherine. Oh, love.
I can't look. Mate, can't look. What is it? I'm not staying here.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Oh. Oh.
What was it? It was something mousy.
Oh, that's all right then.
I'm not sleeping in that bed, so we're going to have to take the mattress out and get rid of the bed. So, I don't know. And I don't know where I'm going to stay now either.
If only she had some friends who lived nearby with a spare room.
You can't sleep there, can you? You'll have to have a whole new
I could curl up on this corner here.
Oh, don't be daft.
Sure enough, Sarah heads off to get her guest bedroom ready, leaving Catherine quite literally in the doo-doo.
I've only got 2 nights I can stay at Sarah's and Richard's, and then I don't know what to do after that, really.
Having spent all morning helping Catherine sort out her problems, Sarah arrives home to discover she's now got a rather large one of her own.
Urgent help! High priority, Sarah. We just found out from Linda that she has to cancel all her bookings due to some bad weather. Please help.
It's a distress call from one of the customers Sarah referred to Linda and Damon.
They've also attached Linda's email to them. All it says is, I'm sorry to report that due to some freak weather we've had, the farmhouse has suffered some damage and my builder cannot guarantee to do his repairs. Unfortunately, we're going to have to cancel all the bookings for the remainder of the holiday season. We'll return your deposit in the next day or 2. I'm glad I didn't get that email, because I'd have been a little bit pissed off.
Why she cancelled, given we were there just the other day seeing how nice it is and how ready it is?
Well, Lord knows, something to do with builders, problems, freak weather condition, don't know. Just none of it makes sense. I don't understand.
You know what they say? You know what they say? You start as you mean to go on, and if that's how she means to go on, then she's in, you know,
well,
she's in for a rough ride.
I just don't understand why they're cancelling when they were desperate for bookings. Whole life depended on it.
So Linda hasn't offered her any alternative accommodation or anything?
No, I think she's just given them the deposit back and said, that's
that don't
it.
cut it with 3 weeks to go before your holiday when you've booked all your flights and everything, does it? You can't piss people about like that.
Well, actually, quite patently, obviously, you can, but...
Not on our name, you can't.
Not on our name, no, that's true.
No.
Well, you can. She has done. Bloody won't do it again, that's for sure.
Early next morning and Sarah is on her way to see the Giddings, determined to get to the bottom of the cancelled bookings.
I've calmed down a bit from being really pissed off about the whole situation, and I'm interested to know what the whole... Why would you do that? It's all a bit odd. So, see if we can get some answers out of her.
Sarah may have calmed down a bit, but it doesn't mean she's going to let Linda off the hook.
So I got 3 emails from very pissed off people, and it was very unfortunate because they were they'd been back to ours.
There'd been a few times.
3 times throughout every year.
Yeah.
Somebody rang Richard as well. He was like, "What? I don't know anything about it."
Richard.
Yeah,
how
they rang
they had
on.
your the numbers? I don't know.
Presumably, well, off the website. So got hold of us that way. But
because I was hoping to have a chat to you before. Obviously, people got, because I didn't envisage anyone sort of coming back to you, but I should have thought about that. But there was quite a lot going on.
It seems the reason the Giddings cancelled their guests wasn't just bad weather and dodgy builders, but also money. Work on the basement ground to a halt when Damon was forced to take a job back in the UK to bolster their finances. To make matters worse, he and Linda have just spent their 2nd wedding anniversary apart.
The difficulties, as I'm sure you had at the start when Richard was back in the UK, sort of ping-ponging between airports all the time. It's not ideal when, you know, you work as a team, and when part of that team isn't there, it's quite difficult to get motivated, and you feel, why, you know, you've made this life-changing decision, but you're to enjoy this life together, and then you're
not together
1,200 miles apart.
It's tough. It's not easy. They're making huge mistakes. They've been married 2 years. It's just been their anniversary and they spent it apart. And Damon's not in the country for another, 6 weeks. It's not right. They had a dream. Their dream is to be together. They should just move heaven and earth. And if they can't move heaven and earth, it's not right. The dream's not right. It's not working out. Something's going to have to give.
With the guests cancelled, this season's rental income out the window, and Damon back in the UK, it's going to be a tough summer for Linda. But she's determined not to give up on her Italian dream.
Oh, it's certainly not put us off. If anything, it invigorates you to get things right for next time. Clearly, it was people's holiday. They'd planned them for a long time, and that was something that we sort of thought long and hard about. But I hope that we've smoothed everything over and we can hopefully welcome people again next year without having to go through this again. So. Well, thank you very much for everything.
Take care, love.
We have very often found ourselves in a position where it was very difficult to have guests. You have to make sacrifices. Sometimes you have to live in a wood hut like we did.
If you're in business, the one thing that you need, whatever your business is customers. And if you've got no customers, you're not in business, pal, because without them, you know, you're just a pretty house on the hill.
Down the valley, Richard is helping Catherine wrestle her cottage back from the grip of the Tuscan wildlife.
Ooh. Oh, you give me the pissy bit. I could sleep out here, actually.
That's it, some lounger.
I've got something in my eye. I think it might be rat poo. I've got Legionnaire's disease.
With almost the entire contents of Fairy Cottage now heading for the tip, Catherine has learnt an expensive lesson.
People that leave their houses for long periods of time are more often than not going to get a shock when they come back. Nature takes over, and plus the elements take over, and if there's nobody there to defend your dream property, then you know, they've won the battle hands down.
Thanks, Ricky.
God bless you.
All loose sailing off. I think people come over with this idea that, you know, they go over to Italy and they can just sit in the sunshine and drink wine and chatter with friends and everything's lovely. And there is some of that, but there's no point pretending that it's not hard work, if not harder work than the UK.
Like lots of people, Catherine found the reality of Italian country life much harder than the dream.
It's too much for a lot of people. They just don't like to come down the steps. That when you come to country and you don't speak the language, you take whatever job is offered to you, even if it's cleaning somebody's toilets. If you need the money, you've got to do it. Or you do what Catherine did and what many, many other people do, go home.
Next time, will Sarah's big gamble with the horses pay off?
He was expected to come out Palomino Chestnut, but not Two-Toe.
And can Richard's unconventional house-selling technique clinch the deal?
We're in now. A little bit embarrassing to turn up and have no key.
Later tonight, who'd be a man? 8 females in charge of 10 males on a Caribbean island when women rule the world at 10:35. Next tonight, somewhat more confined, the housemates get to watch themselves in Big Brother.